Good evening, everyone. So we are having two questions already waiting for the class. I'll do the Shanti mantra, and if you have any other questions, you can just post it on the chat, and I will pick them up and answer. Okay. But I'm going to start dealing with the two questions I already have at hand. Okay. We will begin now. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahe Tejasvinavadhetamastu ma Vidvishavaghe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat. We have two questions today. The first one is the difference between yajna and puja. What is yajna? What is puja? Similarities, differences, etc. So, before I go to yajna, I will talk about puja. And yajna just as a definition, then I will go into the details. Puja means basically adoration. Adoration, an expressive form of bhakti, devotion, an expressive version of devotion, manifesting as an adoration that involves various limbs or angas. What we call as upachara. Upachara means various ways of showing your love, expressing your love and affection and adoration and felicitation. All these can be understood as puja. So in puja, we generally traditionally have pancha upachara puja or shodasa upachara puja. This upachara is the different acts of adoration and felicitation. There are 5-step felicitation, 16-step. So you invoke the deity, offer a seat, etc. Goes on. Purification, invocation. It's like you have a home, you clean the space and beautify it, make it nice, and then invite the guest or someone whom you love. You invite them, offer them a seat, then offer them to wash their hands. They do a pada puja or the feet and all that. They offer some water, and then there are various offerings. You offer food or gifts, flowers, right? This puja krama, the method of puja, the sequence of puja differs from tradition to tradition, place to place in India, in Sanatana Dharma. But the basic components are the same. The basic structure, the idea, the components, the inner details of each step might differ, but the basic idea is the same. In a puja, you invoke a deity. You meditate and chant and meditate and invoke the presence of a divine being. And then you felicitate the divine being in various ways as it is recommended by the scripture, using the right kind of ingredients and the objects that are considered as liked or dear to that deity. So liked by that divinity or dear to that divinity may make you think, does God want these things? Does God have likes and dislikes? It's not that. It is part of the puja, is part of what we call as Saguna Brahma Upasana. So Saguna means associated with quality. So we have invoked the divinity in line with a certain set of qualities That's what makes the divine intelligence tangible for us as an individual for a given purpose, right? So it is for our own sake that we have invoked the nameless, formless quality, free from all qualities, eternal, the reality, the supreme being, the pure consciousness which is beyond all qualities. We have invoked that within the matrix of quality, within the prakriti, within the matrix of qualities, in a certain framework, using the software of mantra, the intelligent software, through the mantra, yantra, vigraha, etc. We have invoked it for a certain purpose, either for inner resonance that helps us in concentration, or for invoking for getting some things done, kamya karma, nishkamya karma, bhakti, whatever. So when we are invoking a powerful presence of the divine according to certain qualities which we would like to relate with, which we would like to express our devotion to, so the offerings that we give to that deity, the various ways of adoration we do to the deity, has to match the quality package of the deity, the nature of the deity, what we call as yakshanu rupa bali. The quantity and the quality of the offerings should match the nature of the divine being that is invoked in the puja. And the main attitude behind the puja is to adore, adoration, expressive bhakti, expressive devotion, expressing the devotion in various acts of adoration, expressing my devotion through various acts of adoration. That is puja. Okay. Panchanga puja is dupam, deepam, nevedyam, gandham, pushpam, dupam, deepam, nevedyam. That is Panchanga puja. So you can read all that. All this information is available. Now, within the puja, I offer flowers, archana. Then I offer nevedyam. I offer food, fruits, vegetables, cooked food, etc. And I offer chanting. Different kinds of offerings I make. Then I make an offering of japa, shatashankyaya, Moola mantra japam, samarpayami, and then I chant 100 times the mantra of the deity as an offering. Right? So you have an energetic offering, we make a physical offering, we have offerings in thought forms, emotions, right? All kinds of offerings we offer. So the act of offering is yajna. So puja is the context within which yajna happens. The offerings are yajna. The whole process is adoration, is puja. Now, on the other hand, I am doing a yajna. Okay, so I am doing a yaga where fire sacrifice. So yajna means different meanings in different contexts. But generally, for our understanding, in connection with this puja, yajna means sacrificing. Sacrificing is a weird word in English. Maybe we can say giving up or offering, setting aside a portion as belonging to offer as an offering to a divine being that is invoked in the ritualistic fire, the fire ritual, or in the altar. So that is yajna. Yajati means to offer. When we are pouring, for example, when we are chanting a mantra and pouring a ghee along with a stick from the ashwatha tree, we dip that ashwatha stick in the stick from the people tree. We dip it in a bowl of ghee, chant a mantra, and offer that stick in the fire. Like that, we offer various things. And at the end of the ritual, we offer what is called as purnahuti. We put a lot of things inside a silk cloth and we offer it. Right? So like this, we have different kinds of offering. The yajati means whatever we are offering in the fire. Right? It's also called as homa. But the main point of yajna is setting aside. I set aside a portion for whichever is the entity to whom I am offering. Setting aside and dedicating a portion of the resources, dedicating a portion of the resources as an offering for a given entity is yajna. So it is basically the act of dedicating a portion of resources. Puja is the act of adoration. The puja has more to do with the nature of the quality of the expression, the quality of the emotion and the thoughts and the feelings. Puja refers more to the aspect of the attitude there in the adoration process. So when I am setting aside in the entire the fire ritual process, inside that, within that ritual, there will be a puja. For example, when a ritual commences, there is a Ganesha puja. You invoke Lord Ganesha, and then when you invoke various deities, you are also doing a puja, an adoration of the deity, and we are offering to the deity. So in a yaga, we have a Ritvik, a Rigveda specialist, a Yajurveda specialist, Advaryu, Hota, Advaryu, and then you have we have that Brahma, the one who the leader of that whole ritual, who coordinates all that. Then when we are calling, when we are invoking the deity, they do Samaganam. So when you do that Samaganam, the Samaveda chanting, the deity, the deity gets into a kind of in a kind of a tuning, and then the deity becomes more manifest, and you do that Samaganam, right? And then using the Yajurvedic methods and the Brahmanas and everything, you make the offering. Like the Rigveda does the adoration. So like that we have, and also there are other procedures, and the whole Vedic ritual process is all about this. So puja is part of every yajna. There is a puja component in every yajna. Yajna, when we are doing, when we are talking about yajna as a Vedic ritual, in that puja is part of it. Different kinds of yajnas, but I will come to that, which is relevant for us. I'll come to that. And within the puja, there is offering. So that offering can be considered as a yajna, right? That is why we have these 5 different kind of yajnas. See, there are a lot of intricate details into both of these. All this information, you find it on internet, in Hindupedia. You have a lot of books. You have a lot of scholars given discourses on that. So let us not go into it. For the purpose of us to benefit from the right understanding of yajna and puja in our everyday practices, whatever we are doing, just to get a clarity about that, I am explaining them with this in mind, from this angle. Okay, so we have what is called as Pancha Yajnas, Pancha Mahayajnas, the 5 great dedications or offerings. I don't like to use this word sacrifice, but yeah, you may say. That is what everywhere you will read sacrifice, sacrifice. So I'm forced to use that word sacrifice. Somehow I don't like it. It's all right. So the 5 great offerings, the dedications, each householder, each consumer should do. I will put it like Deva Yajna, offerings made to the divine being through the mantras, through the Vedic rituals, through the puja. Your puja in the house, the worship ritual in the house that we do comes under the Devata Pujanam. It comes under Deva Yajna, Deva Yajna, offerings to the gods, offerings to the divine beings. It need not be only a Vedic fire ritual. Okay, the puja we do is considered as a yajna, Deva Yajna. The japa that we do is considered as Deva Yajna. Now, then we have Rishi Yajna. Rishi Yajna, where we are making offerings to the rishis. The Swadhyaya, the studies that we do, is our offerings to the rishis. We can consider it like that. Bhuta Yajna to the various living beings around us. For example, in India, there is a habit of keeping aside a little bit of food for the cow or for the crow. When they make rice in South India, I don't know about North India, in South India, a little bit of rice is first kept aside for the crows and the birds. So crows, birds, ants, insects, all of them eat it. A ball of rice is taken. We always, in around 11:30, if you come to even in the mega cities like Chennai or anywhere, if you go, you see all the crows will be waiting. Every house, somebody will come to the terrace and keep a ball of rice or in the compound wall or in the terrace parapet wall, and then the crows will come and take it. We also do that. The designs that you see, what we call as kolam, the rangoli that we do in front of the house. Ideally, it is done in rice using rice flour. Okay, so when you use the rice flour and then you do the kolam, you can see the ants and the birds coming and eating it. That is a Bhuta Yajna. So Bhuta Yajna is wedded into an art and Bhuta Yajna are wedded together. A kind of a meditation. It's like a dynamic meditation. Making that kolam in different forms, it improves your right brain, left brain integration. There's a lot of studies that have been done on that. So it is a beneficial morning ritual for the woman of the house. Though usually the woman of the house does it. And the yajna is included in that because you are using rice flour, insects and the birds will consume it. So the entire Hindu lifestyle revolves around the concept of yajna. So this is Bhuta Yajna. Then we have Manushya Yajna. So anyone who knocks on the door for a help, a guest, receiving the guest who comes unannounced and making the persons travelers for the travelers, etc., making their life a little bit easier by offering some food, etc. For the pilgrims, offering food, water, shelter. Selflessly, you don't know the person, they don't know you. Simply to support a certain aspect of human life. You know, you are making some resources, you are dedicating and allocating some resources to support humanity in general, various aspects of life. So that becomes Manushya Yajna. Offering food for hungry people, Manushya Yajna. Bhuta Yajna is for animals, for the environment, for the ecosystem, for the plants. That is Bhuta Yajna. Manushya Yajna is basically propitiating the guests. That's what it is. Atithi Bhojanam it's called. All the Annadanam, whatever we do, all that comes under Manushya Yajna. The different charities that you do, offering for the orphanage, doing some social welfare projects, all that comes under Manushya Yajna. Deva Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, Manushya Yajna. Then for the ancestors, we have Pitru Karma, remembering them on the day of their passing, what we call as Tithi, the lunar phase in which they passed. You remember that. And on that day, there are some methodical offerings for them. So ideally, it is supposed to be done according to a method. Then we have Brahma Yajna or Rishi Yajna, which is the study of the scriptures, sustaining the knowledge and passing on the knowledge. Swadhyaya, Pravachana, all that comes under Rishi Yajna. So this Pancha Yajnas we have. Now, this Yajna is the central point of the Hindu lifestyle, the Vedic lifestyle. Why? Because when I want to enjoy, when I am looking for various enjoyments through my five senses and the body that has been given, I am a consumer. I am consuming resources. And none of the resources that I use, including my own body that I use here, none of this is mine. I am born and I find all the resources made available here. There is a world, there are the five elements, there are the laws of the physics, the environment, then there are parents, then there is this food, and then the whole system of society that is taking care of me and allowing me to grow, and then I grow. My whole body is the result of generations after generations of in my lineage who have contributed to the development of my genes, whatever qualities I have, good, bad, everything together. So this body is not only the result of my karma, this body is the result of so many people's hard work put in there. And the laws of the nature are sustained by the various aspects of the divine intelligence. That is what the Shastra says. Here is where we need Shraddha. So logically, you can understand that when I am born, I find a lot of resources, so I should give back to the society and the family and the lineage that made life possible for me. This much you will understand. But Deva Yajna is something where we need Shraddha, because that cannot be proved by science, cannot be disproved by science. It's another completely different department. That is the domain of the Veda. Same Pitru Yajna for the ancestors, whatever offerings we make, it goes and reaches the ones who have departed this world. That is also to be done. That is what Shraddha it is called, because it is done with a lot of Shraddha. Right? So all these things are to be approached with Shraddha and not with analytical mind. Analytical mind under the guidance of Shraddha. Whatever analysis we do, we have to use the analytical faculty in order to understand what the scriptures, what the Vedas, and what the tradition is trying to tell me, what are the methods, in order to understand it and make a decision within the framework of Shraddha in the Vedic system. So that's what analysis is meant for here. But Shraddha reigns supreme. So for Deva Yajna, we have to have the Shraddha that there are these intelligent principles that governs every aspect of nature. Every aspect of nature also includes every function in the body. For example, Chandrama Manaso Jataha Chaksho Suryo Ajayata Mukadindrascha Agnischa Pranat Vayurajayata. Like, we have these various suktams, the Vedic verses that describe and how the various faculties in our body have emerged from different devatas. And there are devatas or divine intelligent principles. That's how I would put it. A divine intelligent principles that govern various functions in the body. If you go to a very good astrologer, Vedic astrologer, that person will tell you this planet is debilitated. Your sun is debilitated and it is in such and such position. Some other planet is looking at it. There is a drishti of some other planet in it. So in the next 3-4 months, you might get some eye problem, or maybe during that time, 3-4 years back, within these few months, did you have any eye problem? They will ask. So usually they will check if your horoscope is correct. They will ask some questions. Did this happen to you? Did that happen to you? Did you suffer from this disease? Did you have a problem in this part of the body? Because every part of the body is connected to a devata or a divine principle. Similarly, everything in nature is connected to they say the rhythms of nature, the rain. Rain is just rhetorical. Rain is just a symbolic way of representing all the rhythms of nature. Because food is at the center of all life. Sustenance of life is from food, right? The individual is born from food. Annat Purushaha. So the individual is born from food. And the food is obtained from rain. This comes in 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita. From the verses 13 to 17, if you read, it talks about Yajnam. 3rd chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you can go through that. There is, with all the commentaries, it's all available online. So, the rains come from Yajna. Through the Yajna means the various Vedic rituals that we perform generate a certain unseen power that nourishes the divine energies that govern the rhythm of life on earth. So when these offerings are made, then the gods or the divine beings, the divine intelligence, it attains a certain potency and harmony, and it ensures that the ecological cycle is maintained. The rain comes at the right time, not like nowadays where it rains like cats and dogs for 2 days and then there is no rain at all for 3 years. No? It doesn't come like this. It will rain at the right amount at the right time. Similarly, the winds, the various rhythms of nature will be conducted in a very harmonious way. So that can be ensured by the Vedic yajna. Vedic yajnas, because why the Vedic yajnas are important? Because man as a consumer is very different from animals as consumers. Animals, when they, the normal, the five sense animal, they don't hoard like humans do. Maybe you can say the rat hoards in its hole. It hoards, but it is not like us. It is completely limited by its certain rhythms, and it cannot hoard beyond a point. And when there is one species, there is another species that comes and controls this, and the entire balance in the nature is maintained through the control of the unconscious aspect of all these animals, right? But only man, human being, can overcome that and impose his personal will on the rhythm of life, driven by desire. Driven by desire, a person, an individual, a human being can move from need to greed. Greed is not a problem with animals. Greed is a problem with humans. Animal is driven by its need, but a human can convert the need into greed. Right? So, because of that, it is important to regulate the consciousness of the human. It is important to regulate and bring the discipline of consuming only after contributing. That is the point of yajna. I will consume after I have made my contribution. So if I have exploited nature and I have made cultivation, to make a cultivation is not an easy thing. I have to destroy the forests. In nature, we don't find acres and acres of monoculture crops, paddy and all that. We don't find in nature, right? So in nature, we don't find the cow is taken care in a certain way so that it produces more milk, and then you use the milk for all your things. So when man interferes, we manipulate it for our own need and we disturb the ecosystem to a certain extent, right? So the produce from the farm, whatever I have got from farming, a portion of that has to be offered back to nourish the divine energies that sustain the rhythms of nature. That is yajna. Otherwise, what happens? It will not take much time for the need to become greed, and my motive becomes, the sense of responsibility goes up, the collective thinking goes up. So what happens is, when we do yajna, we recognize and appreciate by action, by attitude and by action, the role of the various aspects of life that is outside my mind and body, outside myself, that is outside myself, that is beyond myself, my individual self. So there are the animals, there is the ecosystem, there is the society, then there are my ancestors and my family, and then there are the divine beings. So all that together makes my life possible, and all of them have contributed and I have to contribute back. So this is the central point of yajna. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, in the third chapter, it makes the one who cooks and eats for his own sake, a person who cooks and eats for one's own sake is consuming sin, is a sinner. He is eating sinful food. It is it is told in such plain terms. So if I am consuming something and enjoying something, I have to see have I also contributed? If I am cooking and eating, I am supposed to see if I have offered to somebody who is hungry. So this is the spirit of it. So we have to understand the spirit of it. So nowadays, in the way of life that we have, the society structure that we have, the organic solidarity that we have in the urban society culture, we may not be able to do exactly in the same to the same detail how it was done in the Vedic times and in the ancient India before all this urbanization and internationalization came in, industrialization came in. How it was done, we cannot do in the same way in detail, but we can do this. We can do the same yajna in spirit. So if I am going to, for example, if I am going to enjoy uh, if I am going to enjoy a luxury meal, let us say, let's say if I'm going to have a pizza, maybe I can buy a meal for somebody who is hungry. So let us say if I am going to any, we can start like this. So we have essentials and excesses. Right? Excesses are those which are not essential. We can live without them, but we are doing it for our pleasure. So in all the things that we do for our pleasure, all the resources that we use for our pleasure, can we sacrifice a portion of that and set it aside for those for whom it would be essential, or we share the pleasure with somebody else? For example, if I am uh, if I am uh, regularly if I am regularly enjoying a certain kind of, let us say like a cake or something. So there are some children, underprivileged children, who may not be able to enjoy a cake, who may not be able to afford it. For example, I have seen people who go to an orphanage and celebrate their birthday, and then all the children enjoy the cake and sweets and everything, right? So this is we also have to be conscious in this context. We also have to be conscious about organized begging. This mafia controlled charity industry is there. One of my social work professors, when I studied social work, one of my professors, he used to say, social work is the last resort of the scoundrel. He used to tell that in the class. Yeah. So this NGOs and social workers and all these, usually many of them are extremely corrupt. So we will have to do some research. It is not simply, you throw some money for some orphanage. Everybody is making money now. So you throw some money for some orphanage and all, not like that. It has to have some kind of an attitude and an involvement. And it's about being conscious. To be conscious of the need to contribute a certain portion. If can I reduce a bit of my pleasures, and from there can I contribute to something that is relevant or connected to that, right? Connected to that enjoyment or connected to that consumption of the resource. Can I set aside some of this resource to contribute to the various forces that support my pleasure? You can think like that. So that would be the spirit of yajna. So in short, this is what it is. You can read more about it. Yajna means dedicating a certain portion of the resources that I could consume. I have earned a set of resources. These are mine and I can consume that. Instead of consuming it all by myself, be it food, be it clothing, be it my shelter, uh, be it my the social connections that I have, anything that I have earned, I don't enjoy, rightfully earned. I'm not talking about lucky money or with proper means. After, no, you can say I am paying some tax, so tax takes care of all that. That is not, because even in the Vedic times there was tax, so that is not counted here. After the tax and everything, whatever money that I have earned, whatever resources that I have earned in various forms, In all those resources that I have earned, I have to set aside a small portion as an offering that is spread around for these five categories. The divine beings, anything that sustains the Vedic sacrifices and rituals can contribute for that. There are a lot of Veda Pathshalas, there are a lot of organizations that conduct various Vedic rituals for the welfare of humanity. You can contribute to that. If you cannot do it yourself, right? You can do some chanting, you can do some puja, you can sponsor a puja, you can contribute to temples and things like this, ashrams, etc. Then you set aside something to take care of the cows, to take care of some ecosystem and animals environment. Then you set aside a little bit for uh, taking as contributing to the society, to fellow humans in any way possible. So like that, right? um, Anything that I earn after the taxes, I set aside a small portion. I don't have to wait for that offering to be done. Yajna is setting aside my resource as a dedicated for offering. I set it aside. It's not mine. It belongs to yajna. This is the yajna portion. From whatever I have earned, I set aside a certain portion and say this is yajna. I make a note of it. This much belongs to God. Put it like that. God in various forms. All of this is God. Society is God. Guests are God. Animals are God. This portion is for yajna. You set it aside. Don't touch it. And then you consume. Make it a habit. And bring the element of yajna in everything that we do. So that is the main part of yajna. And from that you can use for puja also. So for example, if I am going to do everyday puja, I am in that puja, I am making some offering, flowers, fruits, etc. Then I make, if whenever whatever I am cooking, instead of simply cooking and tasting and eating, I cook and then I offer it at the altar as a nevidyam, and then I take it as a prasadam, making that as a habit. Right? So that becomes a yajna in everyday life. Right? So it is not that I set aside and forget it. From that I offer to the deity, and then I set aside a small portion to offer to the insects and the birds and all that. That's what we do. But whatever is appropriate according to the country and where you live, you don't have crows. You cannot go in Singapore and offer for crows. It's not possible. So it depends on where you are. Use your common sense. Understand the spirit of it. So that would be yajna. So puja is a kind of yajna. Within puja, yajna is the central point of spiritual lifestyle, where I am a contributor while being a consumer. That is the whole spirit of this concept of yajna. Good. Next comes the four yogas. Somebody asked me about that. In uninterrupted daily practice, especially with all of the distractions in our lives, when our mind's natural preference is to be lazy and seek comfort, ease, and pleasure. Correct. When you understand that the mind's natural preference is this and it is not helping, this is something to which we can do pratipaksha bhavana, vitarka bhadane pratipaksha bhavana. So laziness and pleasure and comfort and ease, we know where it can take us, and we also know if I overcome this and do my practice, where it can take me, and how I have felt when I have been consistent in my practice. How those who are consistent in their practice, how they are, I also see that, right? So I use that thinking as a motivation, and I motivate myself. One thing So this group or a community, satsanga, it can even be a simple WhatsApp group, and make yourself accountable to the group. So each one has to clock in whether they did their sadhana or not, and you set aside a few minutes to catch up with everybody's practice that day. That could help. Or you have an ashram or a center near your place. Sign up for going there. It's like people who are into fitness. They sign up in a gym and they go regularly, right? So you have a class, then you have an alarm. You tell your friend. You pick up a buddy, a sadhak buddy, to help to go with you, and you both. So you can use all these tendencies of competition. You can use the tendency of accountability and all that. Whenever an action, another person is involved and a few other people are involved, the motivation to stay on the path is stay on the lifestyle and stay committed to the practice becomes higher. And it is considered one of the main things, especially in Kali Yuga, especially when there is a lot of distraction around, and when there is a difficult to cross over the threshold of laziness. This comes in as one of the most handy and the most effective methods. Support group, online support group, offline support group, and belonging to a context that supports the practice. Nothing works better than that. So work on seeing how to get it done. Right now, the next few minutes that is left with us, we can discuss about the four paths of yoga. This you must have heard everywhere. I don't know who started it. It is being repeated ad nauseum, without forethought, without anything, by all the, even the biggest gurus, so-called biggest gurus. They keep repeating it. It is not like how it is presented. See, the framework of the four yogas, bhakti yoga, karma yoga, raja yoga, jnana yoga, I would not say it is entirely wrong, but the way it is presented is not technically correct. It's okay to use those terms, jnana sankhyanam, the term is used, bhakti yogena is used, karma yogena is used. Shastra. But how they are being handled is very different. So we have to understand what they mean contextually. All this problem starts from the wrong definition of yoga. Yoga means union. You must have heard about this, correct? Yoga comes from the root word yuj. Yuj means union, union of the individual self with supreme self. Maybe in some other context, in less crazy context, uh, there is a better way of describing union as union of the body, mind, and intellect. Body, prana, energy, and mind. And then some other person says body, mind, and soul. I don't know what is the soul. There is no word to describe what is the soul. If at all, if you map jiva to the soul, then it cannot be aligned with anything else. It is not a karta. So you have a lot of problems here. But anyway, the soul is a problematic word. Union is a problematic word. So if you're talking about action, speech, energy, and thinking are all in unison, karmanyekam, vachasyekam, manasyekam, mahatmanam, all that. That kind of an integral, conflict-free way of functioning can be described as yoga. That's all right. The one-pointedness, that is all right. Otherwise, this union of individual self with supreme self and all that, they are making, that's what is defined as yoga, and that is what is also defined as enlightenment. So they are making it look like a result of something. I do something, I change some things, and I get there. Like how I board a bus and I go to a destination. I practice some things and it takes me. That's how they make it appear. It's not like that. Moksha or enlightenment is called as apraptasya prapti, attainment of what is already attained. So it is not attainment, it is an understanding. So it is jnana or enlightenment. It's jnana or it's just an understanding, knowledge. Okay. Knowledge not at the information level, knowledge in a deeper sense. So we will go to that later, and I have already discussed that a lot. So yoga traditionally, especially if we take the Yoga Sutra, is defined as a quality of mind, a quality of contemplative mind. When the mind is one pointed, it is considered to be in yoga. Either when the mind is one pointed or when the mind is completely silent and withdrawn in its source. In these both of these states, the mind is considered to be in yoga. When the mind is distracted with thoughts and all that, it is not considered to be in yoga. Right? Yoga sarvabhoma chittasya dharmaha and all that. It comes in the commentary on Yoga Sutras. You can read that. It's all over the place available. Vyasa's commentary on Yoga Sutra, if you put it will come. There is Bhojaraja Vritti and all that. You can read. I'm not going into that. But yoga definition is a state of mind. I have a happy mind, calm mind, agitated mind, sad mind, angry mind, uh, careless mind, very careful, attentive mind. Like that, I have yogic mind. Also, yogic attitude. Okay, so yoga belongs to the state of mind and the quality of my attitude. So we can say yoga is basically an attitude, an orientation, a way of being. Okay, an attitude. Karma yoga means bringing the attitude of yoga and the quality of yoga in my actions, in my sense of doership, in my attitude that backs my actions. So I am doing action, whatever action I am supposed to do, my duties. I perform my duties in an attitude or the state of mind that is established in yoga, whatever that the scripture text. Okay. And it has a few aspects to it. Detachment to the result of action. When I do an action, the result of the action is not my motivation, but the dharma of having to do that action, the necessity of that action as part of my dharma, that becomes motivation. And I do it with an attitude of devotion, as an offering, as a yajna. That is karma yoga. Karma done with yoga buddhi. Right? Now, bhakti yoga means, in this context, it is just bhakti. Okay, bhakti yoga, when we say, it is using bhakti, I attain the state of yoga. Using the force of devotion to God, Ishvara Pranidhana, is bhakti. Okay, that also comes under Raja Yoga. So when we say Jnana Yoga, here Jnana Yogena Sankhyana, in that yoga, the word means the way of life, commitment. It does not mean practice of yoga or concentration. Commitment to knowledge is Jnana Yoga. Okay. Raja Yoga is a popular term. It includes various practices. Raja Yoga basically means attaining the state of yoga using control of the subtle energies, using the currents of prana and the various currents of the mind and various movements of the mind and the source, and understanding the mechanics of my psychic personality, the psychic aspect of my subtle body, understanding the mechanisms of my subtle body and using that to arrive and manipulating that using specific techniques to arrive at the state of one pointedness is Raja Yoga. If you read Hatha Yoga Pradipika, in that it will say the purpose of Hatha Yoga is attaining success in Raja Yoga. The only purpose of Hatha Yoga is attaining success in Raja Yoga. There is a statement in the first chapter of Hatha Yoga Pradipika. Right. So Raja Yoga here basically means working directly with the mind, what is called as sanyama, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, that is called Raja Yoga. It can be done. There are so many types of samyamas that are described in Yoga Sutra. There are those that are outside of Yoga Sutra. There are various kind of Raja Yoga techniques in Tantra. What is popularly called as Babaji Kriya Yoga that's going on, that is basically Raja Yoga. It leads you to Raja Yoga through Hatha Yoga techniques and Laya Yoga techniques. That's what is so-called Kriya Yoga is. And it basically ends with Bhakti. They give you that a mantra of Vishnu, and then they combine that mantra with a pranayama technique as Sagarbha pranayama, and then they help you to get concentration. Basically that. So nothing very exotic about it. It's just highly marketed and highly packaged, and they create a huge sense of awe around it. Then they put in some Babaji story, and then they market. That's all. It's basically Raja Yoga, nothing else. So that is Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. So all of these are Jnana Yoga here means only Jnana. Commitment to Jnana is Jnana Yoga. Here is the lifestyle. Okay. So sannyasa in Bhagavad Gita context, Jnana Yoga means sannyasa. Means giving up of all kinds of karma as a means to attaining various time-bound goals and dedicating completely to the process of abidance in the self-knowledge, understanding and abidance in the self-knowledge to the exclusion of everything else. That is considered, that is described as Jnana Yoga, and it is meant for those who have renounced for the purpose of attaining the self, who are Sankhyas, means the sannyasis, the renunciants. Right. So when you are reading about that yajna in the third chapter, after telling that the one who consumes, one who seeks enjoyment through the senses, he must always make his offerings and after that only enjoy. Otherwise, he is accumulating papa, sinful karma, and he is a thief, all that is being said. But then after that, he says, this rule does not apply to the renunciates, those who want to abide in the self, those who rejoice in the self alone. They do not have such duties as yajnas, etc. Because they are not active consumers. They are minimalists. They are they are just living on what comes according to their prarabdha, and they are not actively seeking satisfaction, happiness, or enjoyments in sense-based experiences. They have completely dedicated themselves to dissolving the mind in the absolute reality, which is the supreme self. So this sannyasi is for them. There is no duty. So it is okay to give up your uh, binding duties. All your duties can be given up if you are going. If you find that moksha is my only goal, and you dedicate your entire way of life, all your resources and all your energies only to that, then you are free. You are made free. Officially, you are made free from all the duties. It comes immediately. 2 verses, 3 verses, he talks about the duties and immediately says in the Bhagavad Gita, says this does not apply to the ones who have renounced, those who have decided to rejoice only in the self, and those who have given up all enjoyments. Immediately talks about it. Yeah. So these 4 parts, there are 4 paths by which you can reach the goal. That is not the right way of putting it. You can use this as a kind of framework, but it is important to say you can arrive at the yogic quality of mind through devotion and through action that is backed by devotion. Karma yoga means bringing the quality of yoga in your dutiful actions. That's what it means. It does not mean selfless service. Selfless service is one part of karma yoga. Going to my office and doing my job and making my money. If I am a businessman, making profit out of the business is can also be karma yoga. Karma can become karma yoga. This is something that we need to understand. Any karma, any action that is not against ethics, any ethical action can be made into karma yoga, can become karma yoga provided I do that action with the yogic attitude. What is the yogic attitude? What are the components of the yogic attitude that convert an action into yoga? A righteous action becomes a yogic practice. How? That can be a discussion for another day. I think I have discussed it. Maybe I can discuss it again later. So similarly, in this karma yoga, when we are talking about yogic attitude in action, offering the results of my action and receiving the results of my action as prasadam from God, as a gift from God, and not claiming ownership or credit over the results, and performing my actions as an offering to the divine, that is bhakti. So there is no karma yoga without bhakti, right? So one without bhakti cannot be a karma yoga. So bhakti means to seek the Lord, a mind that is devoted to the truth, the mind that is devoted to the divine, the mind that is devoted to the goal of moksha. That is the mind that is in bhakti. So that is bhakti yoga is already part of karma yoga, right? So bhakti, without bhakti, there is no karma yoga. This is one we need to do. And also, everyone needs to do some kind of self-regulation of the energies, like a little bit of stretching, a little bit of breathing, some concentration techniques. All that is part of. When you do a puja, pranayama is involved, asana is involved, pranayama is involved, yama niyama is involved. All that is involved. So within bhakti, there is raja yoga involved, right? So all these are actions. Okay, karma, bhakti, jnana. So sorry, karma, bhakti, and this raja yoga, whatever we are doing, the techniques of raja yoga, all of these are actions. So various actions are involved. And for jnana, the action of swadhyaya and study, all that is involved. But since it is not aimed at any external result, it is not counted as a action, as a karma that will produce a papa or punya. It is not counted like that. So karma is involved everywhere. All these come under karma. Bhakti, jnana, raja yoga, everything is basically karma. And then you have jnana, which is a completely different kind of way of being and different kind of a dedication, right? So this karma, the different actions that we do through karma yoga and all that, karma yoga, bhakti and everything, raja yoga techniques, samadhi, nirvikalpa samadhi, kundalini samadhi, laya samadhi, all those things cannot give moksha. That is what we need to understand. So there are no four paths to liberation or enlightenment. All these paths are there for preparing the mind to bring it to the doorstep of enlightenment, which is the study, which is Vedanta, which is the revelation of the knowledge, which is inquiry into the true nature of the self. Right? So mind becomes ready, it makes you an adhikari for jnana. There are no four paths. There are various paths. All these paths to a yogic mind, a mind that is that has acquired the fourfold qualifications of viveka, vairagya, mumukshutva, and all that, shamadama, etc. A mind that has acquired all these qualities, that is the mind that is ready for wisdom. Chitta Shuddhi, it is called. So there are various, all these paths can take you there to the doorstep of enlightenment, and that's about it. And what gives enlightenment is the teaching, is the knowledge, is the inquiry into the true nature of the self and to the true nature of Brahman. That alone gives knowledge, that alone is moksha. There are no four paths to moksha. There is only one way for moksha, because moksha is your own nature. The only way for moksha is to realize your true nature. And all the paths of yoga, all the methods and approaches of yoga, and all the limbs of yoga. In fact, I would say karma, bhakti, raja yoga, and all these are limbs of yoga, which is basically karma, physical karma, mental karma, that prepares your mind, that prepares your attitude, and takes you to the point of readiness for jnana, which is moksha. Okay, so that's how we understand this. The popular discourse about four paths leading to enlightenment is the wrong way of putting that. There are four paths, or four, I will put it like this. We can maybe understand it freshly as the four aspects of arriving at yoga, the mind that is ready for knowledge. You can put it. So Jnana Yoga here in this context will become Buddhi Yoga. training the attitude with the right bhava, etc. All that becomes, and understanding and getting the right framework of interpreting your experiences, all that comes under Jnana Yoga. That is part and parcel of preparation of mind. So there are these four aspects of four major approaches that are used in preparing the mind for enlightenment, which is obtained from the teaching, from inquiry into the nature of the self and Brahman. Yeah. Let us not, yeah, I know. Maybe he tried to, Swami Vivekananda, as far as I know, somebody has written it. Yes. Maybe he tried to make it easy for the West. He did not follow the traditional protocol of teaching. Probably, if you had a personal discussion with him, he would say something different. And we know how when somebody says something, he keeps on changing and going around. So, if he has said that, then even if it is Vivekananda, it is wrong. So, it doesn't matter. But the point is, if you understand it like this, then it is in line with the actual teachings. Four paths. Instead of that, we say four parts of the one path of yoga. That will take you and make you ready for jnana, which is the only way for enlightenment or moksha. There is no other way. Nanyaf panta vidyate ayanaya. The only way for freedom is by knowing the Supreme Self. So with that, I will conclude this class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tatsate.
Thank you.
Thank you.